Every zodiac sign carries a darkness, a silent shadow that follows them everywhere, even when they pretend it's not there. Some people call it fate, others call it a curse, but psychologists would call it something far more terrifying. The hidden side of the human mind, the part we spend our whole lives trying to escape. Tonight, we're stepping into that forbidden territory. Behind every charming smile, every burst of confidence, every quiet moment of calm, there is a storm, a wound, a fear that claws its way through the heart when no one is watching. These shadows appear in different forms: a demon of pride, a ghost of insecurity, a beast made of old trauma and silent anger. And the strangest part? They don't attack from the outside. They grow from within. So if you've ever wondered why someone suddenly changes, why a relationship collapses, or why you yourself feel drawn toward chaos, this may be the answer you've been avoiding. Because the truth is simple. Every zodiac sign hides a monster. And it's time we finally reveal what yours looks like. Let's enter the darkness.
Part 1. The Whisper Behind Aries. People think Aries walks through life with fearless confidence, but that's only the surface. Behind that fiery energy, there is a whisper, a presence they never talk about. It follows Aries everywhere, appearing only in the quiet moments no one else sees. Sometimes it feels like a pulse in their chest, a sudden rush of heat, a pressure that builds for no reason, as if something deep inside is trying to break free. Most Aries assume it's just adrenaline, or impatience, or anger they haven't dealt with. But what if it's something else? What if the real reason they can't stand still, can't wait, can't let things go, is because something ancient pushes them forward, a force that refuses to let them rest? People around them feel it too, though they don't understand it. That strange intensity in Aries' eyes, the way a room changes when they enter, the way silence becomes heavier when they're upset. Something is living beneath that fire, and Aries knows it. They just don't know what it is yet. And that is where the story truly begins.
Part 2. The Demon of Restlessness. Aries has always felt it, the sensation that something is standing just behind them, watching, waiting, breathing in the spaces between their thoughts. They never mention it to anyone because it sounds insane. But the truth is far more chilling. Aries wasn't born alone. There is a presence that awakens every time they feel cornered, challenged, or threatened. A presence older than their anger, older than their pride. A shadow that has learned to speak through their impulses. It starts subtly. A twitch in the jaw. A sudden urge to walk away, to run, to break something, just to feel movement. A voice that doesn't sound like thoughts, but more like a growl forming inside the ribs. And when Aries ignores it, the thing inside grows impatient. It whispers, "Don't wait. Don't let them win. Move first. Strike first. Burn everything slowing you down." Aries mistakes it for courage, but courage has calmness. This does not. This is hunger. People around Aries have sensed it, not in words, but in the vibrations, the tension, the way the air thickens when Aries becomes overwhelmed. There are moments when their eyes glaze just slightly,
when their breathing gets shallow and something ancient presses against their skin like a creature trying to escape a cage too small. Some nights, Aries wakes up without remembering how they got out of bed. Heartbeat racing, fists clenched, sheets tangled as if they had been fighting someone in their sleep. But they were only fighting themselves. Every Aries has a moment in their life, a terrifying moment, when they do something impulsive, explosive, or destructive, and afterward swear they don't recognize the person who acted. They wonder, why did I do that? It wasn't me. But it was. Just not the version they like to show to the world. The demon of restlessness grows stronger in silence, feeding on frustration, wasted time, delayed decisions, and unresolved emotions. It hates stillness. It despises hesitation. It claws at Aries' chest whenever they're forced to wait or compromise. And the most terrifying part? It's not trying to destroy Aries. It's trying to take control. The more Aries suppresses it, the louder it becomes, until one day they'll have to face the creature behind the fire and decide whether it is their curse or their greatest weapon. Part 3. The wound Aries never talks about. If you look closely at Aries, beyond the fire, beyond the impulsiveness, beyond the fierce determination, you'll find something far more delicate, far more fragile, and far more painful than anyone ever imagines. A wound. Not the kind people see, the kind they hide behind humor, behind confidence, behind constant motion. A wound created long before they learned how to speak their truth. A wound shaped by moments when they were forced to be strong before they were ready, and moments when no one showed up for them, even though they always showed up for everyone else. Aries grows up with a secret belief. If I stop moving, everything will fall apart. So they keep moving, running, fighting, achieving, chasing anything that makes them feel alive. Because slowing down means feeling the pain they've avoided for years. Underneath their legendary courage, Aries carries a deep fear of vulnerability. Not because they dislike emotional closeness, but because they've learned, again and again, that the moment they open up, someone either leaves, misunderstands them, or uses their honesty against them. So Aries builds their world like a fortress, not out of stone, but out of speed. If they keep going fast enough, no one can catch them. No one can see the cracks. No one can notice how lonely they sometimes feel in a crowd. The demon inside them, the restlessness, the intensity, the fire that won't calm, isn't born from evil. It's born from pressure. Years of holding everything together for themselves. Years of pretending they don't need help. Years of believing that if they don't act first, they will lose everything. This is why Aries reacts quickly, why they burst out in anger, why they make decisions that look reckless from the outside, but are actually survival mechanisms from the inside. They fear abandonment more than they admit. They fear being misunderstood. They fear failing the people they love, and they fear becoming a burden, even though they've carried burdens their whole life. Behind every Aries explosive moment is a quiet truth. They're exhausted. Exhausted from being strong. Exhausted from being brave. Exhausted from pretending that the fire inside is something they control and not something that controls them. The demon of restlessness is not their enemy. It's the part of them that has been screaming for help, a manifestation of all the emotions they were taught to hide, a symbol of every time they were told to be tough, every time they had to raise their own courage because no one else could comfort them. And the painful reality? Aries isn't angry. Aries is hurting. but they'd rather burn than show the world how deep the wound truly goes. The shadow within them grows not from darkness, but from the light they deny themselves. And until Aries learns to slow down, to breathe, to face the emotions they keep locked away, the demon will continue to rise, mistaking their pain for permission to take control.
Part 4. How Aries begins to heal the fire within. Healing for Aries never starts with silence. It begins with something far more difficult: stopping. Stopping long enough to notice the weight in their chest, the tension in their shoulders, the fire burning too fast inside their ribs. For someone who survives through motion, stillness feels dangerous. It exposes everything they've avoided, everything they've buried under ambition, responsibility, and strength. But this is the truth Aries has been running from. The fire doesn't destroy them. Their refusal to sit with the fire does. The demon they fear, the restlessness, the impulsiveness, the fierce inner push, is not a monster trying to tear them apart. It is an unspoken emotion, a younger version of themselves, still calling out from a time they felt alone. And healing begins the moment Aries dares to listen. For the first time, they sit with their anger without acting on it. They sit with their fear without masking it. They sit with their loneliness without sprinting away from it. And slowly, the fire softens. The demon's voice becomes quieter, less like a growl, more like a child asking not to be abandoned again. Aries learned something they were never taught. Slowing down is not weakness. Rest is not failure. Softness is not surrender. The people who truly love them do not need their perfection. They need their presence, their honesty, their truth. Aries begins letting others in, one small step at a time, sharing a worry, asking for help, allowing someone to stay even when they feel vulnerable. And it shocks them to realize this. Not everyone leaves. Not everyone misunderstands. Not everyone demands their strength.
Some people actually hold space for their fire. As Aries learns to breathe through the heat instead of fighting it, the demon inside them changes. It becomes less of a shadow and more of a guide, a reminder of their passion, their courage, their unstoppable spirit. No longer an enemy, but a part of them finally allowed to rest. Healing doesn't erase the fire. It teaches Aries how to hold it gently, without burning themselves in the process. And for the first time, the warrior learns peace, not by winning a battle, but by choosing not to fight themselves anymore.
Part 5. The Universe's Message for Aries. In the quiet after the storm, when Aries finally learns to sit with their own fire instead of running from it, something extraordinary happens. The universe begins to speak. Not in thunder, not in signs carved across the sky, but in a calm, steady voice that feels like it comes from everywhere and nowhere at once. It says, "You were never meant to fight alone." Aries, the warrior of the zodiac, has always believed that strength means carrying everything on their own shoulders. But the universe gently reminds them that even fire needs air to breathe, and even the strongest flame needs warmth from others to burn with purpose. The message continues. Your fire was never a punishment. It is a gift, a way to light the path for those who cannot find their way. For the first time, Aries understands. Their intensity is not something to tame, but something to guide. Their passion was never the enemy. Their self-neglect was.
The universe whispers, "You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to be soft. You are allowed to be loved without earning it." With this truth, the demon inside Aries, the restless, frantic force they once feared, finally dissolves into light. Not gone, but transformed. A guardian, not a shadow. A strength, not a wound. And Aries rises, not as a warrior burning themselves to stay bright, but as a soul finally aligned with its purpose. The universe's final message is simple, but it changes everything. Your fire was always meant to warm the world, not consume you.